Okay, guys, Adam Trigger here. It's Thursday afternoon. Time for On the Clock on WagerTalk TV. 1-2 for me yesterday. It was one of those very frustrating days where every MLB play that I liked or talked about on a show ended up winning except for the client play. So A's fall short despite the fact that we got in at minus 115. I think it went off minus 140, minus 145 some places after all of the Padres lineup omissions were announced, and couldn't hit Randy Vasquez. Lose 2-1, waste a good start from Osvaldo Bido. So that was very frustrating. AAA plays split. Las Vegas ends up losing. St. Paul ends up winning. And then, of course, the other game we talked about on here, which will segue into the first game we're going to talk about today, the Doosan Bears, which started my morning off today. We got the Jake Cave sort of info, if you will, correct. He did return for the first time since May 30th from paternity leave. It certainly was not reflected in the number. That game, I think Doosan ended up going off minus 140. We got it at minus 120. And of course, they no-showed this morning, lost the game. So a couple frustrating results there. But yesterday on this show, we cashed, well, if you took the play, the Diamondbacks ended up being easy. And we'll try to find a couple of winners today. So I'm going to mix it up, talk about some different plays than what I talked on the show earlier. I am still 16-6 in my last 22 MLB releases at WagerTalk. I've got another one of those going this afternoon. I'll look at one of the other afternoon games in a minute, but let's start with KBO. We'll do what we did yesterday. We'll go around, just around to different leagues. I'll talk a little KBO, a little MLB, and then I've got a AAA sort of thing I got my eye on that I'll bring up at the end of the show. So let's start in KBO, and let's talk the biggest rivalry in Korean baseball, Doosan LG. So, of course, this is Jamsil Baseball Stadium. Both teams call this venue home, but for batting purposes, it is an LG Twins home game. So Doosan heads over to the visitor locker, dugout, visitor locker room, and it will be an LG Twins home game with for the first one of the year. Big rivalry. LG Doosan, huge rivalry. It's basically Yankees Red Sox of Korean baseball. And knowing that we have Jake Cave back now, so that's Doosan's import bat, who returned yesterday, makes me think that there's some value on Doosan here. So right now you can get Doosan plus 1.5 at minus 125. I don't know if this will be another client play for me, but that's certainly the value in this game. LG Twins 12-2. They're off to a tremendous start. I do think they're a legitimate contender. I don't know that they're head and shoulders better than Doosan, who started 7-9. But remember, they've been without their best hitter essentially for the past week or so. So they probably start maybe a little bit better if Cave doesn't have to go back to the States for paternity leave. And then you've got a scenario here where Sung Ki Song is the starting pitcher for LG. He's probably not a guy that should be a $1.90 favorite. He's 22 years old, 23 years old, really hasn't had much KBO experience up until this point. Few starts here and there, few appearances here and there. Has spent most of his time in the Futures League. They obviously like what they've seen out of him because he made the club out of spring training. He's been in the starting rotation, and he's looked very good so far in 2025. But again, I don't know that he's done enough to justify being close to a $2 favorite against a very good Doosan team. And again, it is a quote-unquote home game for LG, but it's not really. I mean, it's a home game in the respect that they'll bat last, but this is also Doosan's home field. So, on the other side, Woon Jun Choi is 30 years old now. He's kind of, fallen off in this. I think his best days are probably behind him. You go back a couple of years, go back 5 years to when Doosan was really contending for titles in this league. He was one of their one of the better pitchers on this team. Probably not the case anymore, but he's still a veteran guy that when he's got his stuff working, it can be pretty good. He just went 7 innings, gave up 2 earned runs against a very good Samsung lineup. He's a veteran that knows how to pitch. So, this is the type of guy where if he comes in, he doesn't get a ton of strikeouts, but if he's got his stuff working and he's getting balls hit at his fielders, he can stay in a game for a while and give you a chance to win. I'll be looking at Doosan plus 1.5. Minus 125 is fair, in my opinion. I don't know if this will make the client card tomorrow, but I'm certainly tempted to come back with Deuce on here now that I know Jake Cave is back in the lineup for the Bears. So that's a lean. Deuce on plus 1.5. Let's go to Major League Baseball. Let's talk a little Jays Red Sox. This is one we talked about on Monday. And so I'll just point out, I kind of talked about this on Monday, that my numbers like the Jays. My numbers still like the Jays. And my numbers have liked the Blue Jays in every game so far in this series. And in every game so far in the series, the Blue Jays has won. And you've been able to get them out a good price. 6-2 win on Monday, of course, had the pitching change. Tuesday, 6-1. And then yesterday, a 6-1 win, or a 2-1 win in 11 innings. So again, my numbers like the Blue Jays here, and my numbers also like the over. So far in the series, we have not seen an over. We have not seen more than 8 runs scored in a game. So today's over is at 8.5. I think that's probably a little bit watered down based on how this series has gone to this point. You've got Walker Buehler, who has looked terrible. And you have to think that Walker Buehler, being the veteran that he is at this point, will get himself to the Walker Buehler we saw in October last year at some point. But if you go back to last season, this happened to him last year too, and it actually happened at the AAA level. He was awful down at Oklahoma City for the first month of the year, and then he was awful when he got called up to the big league level. So it really took him like half a year to sort of settle in, figure it out. He was coming off of an injury, and you just have to wonder if that's, it's going to take him some time, because really has had nothing in the first 2 games of the season. 9 earned runs in 9.1 innings pitched. He's not blowing anyone away. I don't doubt that he's going to get there and be a very productive piece of this Red Sox rotation. But I don't know. It feels like to me it's not going to happen overnight. And the Blue Jays are a team that they've hit the ball well in this series so far. Kind of woke up after that after a poor series against the Mets. I wouldn't be surprised if the Blue Jays at least did their part here. On the other side, Chris Bassett, we know plenty about him. He's a veteran. We know he's probably not going to carry an ERA under 1 throughout, very, very far into the year. So he's sort of been off to a tremendous start against the Orioles and the Mets. But we've seen Chris Bassett for a decade. He's probably going to be in the, up around 4 ERA wise, best case scenario, mid 3s. So in my opinion, you're just kind of, selling him at his peak after 2 really good starts. And again, he doesn't have to get crushed here, and neither does Buehler. If they both give up a little bit, you're going to be in the mix for, to hit that over. So I lean toward the over, because we have really not seen both teams sort of generate offense at the same time in this series yet. I think that could happen. And my numbers like the Blue Jays again, and my numbers have been right about the Blue Jays all series here. So slight lean toward Toronto. Probably the bigger lean here would be toward the over. I just think that you're going to get runs at some point in a 4-game series. Toronto Red Sox at Fenway Park. You're probably going to get runs at some point, and I already see this ticking up from 8.5 to 9. So someone else pretty much, is suggesting the over is the right play as well. But yeah, Toronto's plus 102 right now, I think. I'm just kind of looking really quickly. Might be right around even money. I make them a slight favorite. So again, I don't know if I love the angle of having to see them finish off a 4-game sweep, but my numbers certainly suggest the Blue Jays are the right side. And I do think you get some runs and potentially an over. So just like Monday when we talked about this matchup, we'll lean Blue Jays and over. That split on Monday. Again, I'd be shocked if you didn't get one of those. So roll with the one that you like the best. All right, we will finish up with some minor league baseball. And I will talk about the Iowa Cubs, because this team is absolutely loaded and they haven't even really started to hit yet. So you look at their roster is insane. Best roster in AAA by far right now. And they're 5-3, and guys like Moises Ballesteros, James Triantos, Kevin Alcantara have really not gone off yet through the first couple weeks of the season. And that's coming. You could pretty much guarantee it. Those guys at the AAA level they all produced at the minor league level last year. They're all going to produce at the minor league level this year. So the fact that you haven't had that sort of outburst from the best players on that Iowa team, and then the other players that are producing are also like either really good prospects or quality sort of minor league guys, kind of makes, leads me to believe that Iowa is a play on in pretty much any scenario for this foreseeable future. I'm kicking myself for not rolling with them on Tuesday when our guy Chris Flexen was on the mound, and I think they won like 13-1 or something ridiculous like that. They're going to play Toledo here, and Toledo's just so this is going to be AAA for the Tigers. There's just not much down on this roster right now. They called up Justin Henry Malloy about a week ago. And so really this roster is just not great in the context of AAA rosters right now. You've got Jace Jung, who's really good. I wouldn't be surprised if he's up on the Tigers soon. But the rest of this team is just the Tigers are trotting out guys that should be on this roster at the big league level right now. There's just not a ton of offensive depth at the top level of this Tigers organization. It's why they already made the move to bring Henry Malloy up. And that's just not a very good roster from an offensive standpoint. You've got a couple pitchers on this team. Like Kaider Montero is going to get the ball tonight. He's okay. But again, he's going to run into an Iowa team that's just so much better at every level. You can go into the bullpen. Iowa's got the better relievers. Jack Neely, I'm shocked that he's not in a seventh or eighth inning role for the Cubs right now. Probably the Cubs' future closer. He's that good. So again, you just have an Iowa team that is better in every level. They're going to throw Cade Horton, who's one of their best pitching prospects, and a guy that I think you finally start to see have real success at the AAA level this year. You're going to have to pay for it. They're minus 160 on the road, but I think the minus 1.5 right now might be close to even money. This is one where, as I talked about yesterday, I typically like to play minor league baseball either -1 or +1. It allows you to play the run line and the money line and get twice as much down. I'll have to take a long, hard look at Iowa -1 tonight. I think if that comes out to -130 or better, I may just have to play it. It really is that big of a mismatch, in my opinion, right now with these two teams and what these rosters look like. So I'll have my eye on the Iowa Cubs tonight. I talked about an MLB game, and then, of course, a Korean baseball game that goes in the morning. All of these are leans for me right now. I haven't played any of these, but if you want what I did play, I do have a 4% top-rated MLB up that goes this afternoon. I think it's late. It's either 3 p.m. Eastern or later, so there will be some time still based on when you're watching this. 16-6 in my last 22 MLB releases at WagerTalk. Hope to cash another one today. We'll see you guys in the morning. Tuesday, Friday is going to be the live Total Bases show with Tokyo Brandon and Brian Leonard. So we'll probably do On the Clock on the off days. So tomorrow, if you're looking for us, it's going to be live on X, 9 a.m., and then it'll be up on demand as well. And I think we're going to start actually posting it to the YouTube channel on demand as well. I'll be hitting the Friday slate with Tokyo Brandon, Brian Leonard. Has been a great baseball conversation so far, the couple times we've done it. And that's interactive. So bring your questions. If you've got a game that you want broken down, just let us know. We'll hit it on that show. Good luck, cash all your tickets, and we will see you guys back here 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning.